Hi everyone, thanks to everyone in the replay. Like my glitter lamp, we know we gotta have glitter. So we're gonna flip this camera around and then we're probably gonna have to adjust it. Maybe we'll flip the camera again. There we go, there's me. All right.
Hi everyone.
You know what, we're gonna try this in landscape mode. Okay, you're too tall. All right, bear with us for a moment while we get the camera adjusted. There we go. So, all right, adjust your chair, Pam.
I'm adjusting.
I am Belle Marshall. I am the founder and creator of Reclaiming the Goddess Within. I am a coach for women specifically, and generally around breakups. And boy, my chin is cutting off. I need to get taller. All right, I'm gonna sit up like this. This is my daughter Pam. She's 21, and probably the person who has learned to make all of mom's mistakes.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
repeat them and make mom want to cry on a regular basis. But she's actually my why as to why I do what I do. This is my 21-year-old daughter. She is going through a recent breakup. And we've had some really, all right, we're going to move that. You need to get real close to me here. Let's act like we like each other. But she is going through a recent breakup. Okay, bear with us. Thank you so much for the hearts, and thanks to everyone coming in. We're both severely ADHD, so multitasking is not exactly a real big thing for us. So if you have questions, we'd be happy to answer them afterwards. Hi, Embrace Only Love. It's so good to see you. Thank you. So we're going to talk about some conversations that Pam and I have had recently. I think we've had them for many years in your life. Yeah. They're just starting to take hold in your head. So let's talk about, okay. So let's give them a little background. See how much we look alike? Everyone tells us how much we look alike. There's not a single strand of DNA that we share.
None.
You were
still my mom though.
You were 2, and you told me many years ago that you got lost on your way to the right tummy, and so you ended up in the wrong one, apparently. I don't know that I'd call it the wrong one, but so you sent Daddy to find me. So when she was 2, I met her father. We are no longer together, and that's a whole different story that we don't need to discuss with his daughter sitting here. But you became mine at a fairly young age due to circumstances with your biological mother that weren't exactly the best. And this is my baby, and this is my why for everything that I do. Because I not only want to make life better and give other women options, it's most important to me to make my daughter's life better. And I watched her repeat many, many, many of my mistakes when it comes to men and choices in men and choices in how we handle our relationships. The difference is, I'm almost 50, you're 21. You're learning a whole lot younger than I did. Yeah. So you know what? That's a good start, and I'm very proud of you for that. So let's talk about the most recent breakup, which was a relationship you were in for 2 years, and I liked him at first, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
You know, and, you know, he seemed like an okay kind of guy. But then some things started to come about. And my daughter here, who has this spark and this light, and, you know, she walks in a room and people know she's there. And I guess to a degree we're kind of like that together. Put us together and we're kind of a scary thing.
No, I'm down for it. I mean, I just don't know what to say. Yeah.
That's all right.
It's my first video.
You will. I'm a great interviewer. Remember, I did a radio show for many years. But what I saw was that spark. It was like diminishing a lot. And, you know, there was parts of me that was going, okay, maybe she's just, you know, a little bit of maturity, a little bit of growing up. But then it became about you having to squash who you were. Yeah. You were worrying about what you did and what you said and how he would respond to that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that caused concerns for me as your mom, because the one thing, it took me a lot of years, and you were part of that process. You were there through the years when I was recovering from my divorce from your dad, and actually nothing against your dad, but I had to learn how to be me and be okay being me and not apologize for that. And suddenly you were doing the things that I had worked so hard to no longer do in my own life.
Yeah.
And I can say as a parent, and anyone who's a mom out there, you know what I'm talking about. When you see your child repeating your mistakes, there is nothing more devastating. And you go through this point of, I am the worst mom on the planet, because we know they learned it from us. They learned by watching our behavior. Our children learn how to, thanks, embrace only love. Our children learn how to have relationships and how to be by watching us, at least most of the time. Sometimes we learn how not to be. I know with my own mother, I learned a lot of things I didn't want to be. But, I can say I patterned a lot of my behavior based on Grandma's behavior with men. Luckily, I didn't take it to the same extreme.
Yeah.
But, looking back, I did all the things I swore I'd never do. But to a great degree, I did. I became crazy when your dad and I split up and had to have that relationship back, even though it was no longer right for either of us. It wasn't a good thing or a bad thing about either of us. We just were no longer right for one another. But I wasn't letting go of that because, oh my God, who was I without that? I didn't have the legal rights that an average parent has. We're going to talk about how we're breaking that cycle. But for me, I was coming out of it, and you were hitting that age where I remember that first boy.
Oh, God.
That first boy that was just like your dad in every way that I didn't like. Your dad had some good points, but this boy had every bad point. And I wanted to scream, and your dad's like, well, he likes me. She likes him because he's like me. I'm going, oh, dear God, what did I do? But the most recent one, there have been some things. Like I said, one was you started to lose who you were. But there were some statements that were made.
Yeah. Such
as, look at her. She's definitely not overweight. Look at this face. This is prettier than any mother's child should be allowed to be, ever. But, I deal with it. But him telling you that your weight had become an issue. Yeah. Now, granted, you have curves. I have curves. Mm-hmm. We look alike. We both have curves. I don't know. Yeah, I think you did just get lost on the way.
Yeah, I got lost. But for sure.
I've learned at this point in my life to appreciate them. And suddenly you'd gone through that with your biological.
Everyone has curves.
Everyone has curves. And we should rock those curves.
Yes.
They are awesome. They are awesome. The truth is most men don't want a stick figure.
Yeah, well, apparently he did.
Well, you know what? That's because he was like about that big. I could break him in half, and I'm 5'1" and what, like 120 pounds.
Oh!
Rock the curves there. Now there's a tweetable, and the kitten is attacking her. But this was, and that just like kicked me in the gut. It's like, okay, one, I wanted to like go hurt him, which probably isn't the best way to handle things, and I probably shouldn't set that example. But can't say it didn't cross my mind. But you said something to me because after I moved you out of that house and into ours, which is yay because she fixes everything. But he called you, and I'd like you to share a little bit about that conversation.
Hold on.
Yes, it does. It says a whole lot more about him than it does anyone else.
Well, he calls me the other day, and he's like, well, I just want to give you the option of getting an apartment with me. And I'm like, no.
Well, you had already told him it was over. It just wasn't connecting for him.
Would not connect at all. So then he's like, well, now I'm spacing.
Now you're spacing.
I'm having a blonde moment.
Well, there was something about wanting to give you the option and...
Oh. I just wanted to give you the option of either coming back to me or being completely done. And I'm like, I'm done. Oh, so you don't want to talk to me? No, not at all.
But there was a statement you made to him. Because, let's face it, I'll get there, you'll remember. When a relationship ends, it doesn't mean you quit caring about that person.
Thank you.
And, it takes time. It takes time to heal. And even when you know what's wrong for you, it doesn't change. Honestly, with Pam's dad, he's not a terrible person. We're just not right for each other. And we've been divorced, we got divorced in 2009, October of 2009. So it's, wow, almost 6 years.
Yeah.
And by no means would I ever go back. Honestly, we're such different people. He's very much a homebody and really is, I wouldn't call him antisocial, but he's not overly social. And he likes being in his little teeny corner of the world back in the woods, which is an awesome place for a vacation. Me, I want to see the world. Put me on the back of my Harley and let's go. We're not made for each other. But I'm always going to care about this person. He gave me this beautiful face. But, he gave me a lot of other good things. And so even now I can look back and say, I still care about him. But he's not good for me. I'm not in love with him anymore because I've had that time. But for Pam, it's still a little more raw. So what did you say to him in reference to the feelings and what was more important?
Oh, that one. That's what it was. Yeah.
That's what it was.
I said, it's not that I don't love you. I'm just tired of not loving me.
Yeah. And I think that is such an important lesson for anybody of any age. It took me into my mid-40s to figure it out.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Luckily for Pam, I can't see as well as she can either. I can see if I'm right up here. But otherwise, I can't see like 2 feet in front of my face. But the difference is Pam is 21. And so if nothing else, while she learned to make my mistakes, I'm hoping she's learning some of the things that I learned that were actually better for me and healthier. Self-love is absolutely the key.
Yes, it is.
It is absolutely the key. And this was the thing is, so when we start talking about how do we get past these barriers of repeating the patterns of same old, one of them is actually a choice. This was not an easy decision for you.
No.
You felt, I think more than anything, you felt really guilty.
I did. I really did.
Because he was really good at manipulating you. And I think we always feel guilty when we hurt somebody. At least, if you're not a narcissist, we feel guilty. 2 years is a very long time.
Yeah.
And so it's tough to just walk away. But it's that point of, you have to choose you first.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important piece, is choosing you first. Because here's the reality. And this is, again, nothing against anybody. When I was married to your dad, yes, we had a lot of years that we were happy. But when do you remember me doing something that was just for me during all of those years?
I don't honestly ever remember it.
Right.
It was always with the kids.
It was always about you kids and about your dad. Because Pam has 2 brothers. While we had custody of Pam, her brothers lived with their biological mothers. And so, but my whole world was about you guys. And that's not a bad thing, and I'm not sorry that I did a lot of things. Homeschooling you was probably the greatest thing I ever did.
Yeah.
But, especially for the years we lost in between. But the reality is, there was nothing for me. When your dad left and took you, and I had no legal rights to do anything to even fight, because I was a stepmother, which we're going to have a conversation about step-parents real soon. I have a real sticking point with that. You do have to, you really, you have to not only find balance, but you have to find something for you. And that was the thing I found with me. When I started finding things that were important to me, such as doing this work that I do, I am so passionate about it. There is not a man on this planet that's going to talk me out of it. Not, because you know what? It'd be bye-bye. Because it matters to me. I believe this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
And when you find that thing as to why are you here, it changes how you see things. But when you start to notice that you make differences in other people's lives, and you don't have to go out and do this. You may just go out and have coffee with a group of friends once a week where you all connect. That's still making a difference. You have to find something that is, one, away from that relationship, away from being mom, away from being wife, partner, whatever the term is, to be healthy. Because honestly, there was a conversation the other day about would you want to work with or go into business with your partner? I would not. I would not. One, I'm a little tiny bit of a control freak.
A little.
Shh. So I don't like to give up control.
Never.
My way is the right way. Now, I'm willing to learn from other people, but my partner needs to stay the heck out of it because I'll throw something at him. So for me, that's not, I can't integrate those two things. You know, yes, I love to share it with him. I love to discuss it with him. I love to share my ideas, and he's a great cheerleader. Yeah, baby, yeah, do it. You're awesome. I know you can do it. But he minds his own business. He is a truck driver, has been for 30 years. That man could drive a truck in his sleep and probably drive better than most because I've seen a lot who don't know how to park a truck. It's really scary. I don't tell him how to drive his truck. I don't tell him he's a steel hauler. I don't tell him how to strap down his coils. I just remind him to be safe and to be careful and stick within his logs and, go the speed limit. Other than that, it's not my business. He knows how to do what he does better. Neither of us need to intermingle them because I know how to do everything better, honestly.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that I think for us, that doesn't work. For some people it does. Some people it's amazing. If you look at Shalene and Brett Johnson, who are here on Periscope, those two have a partnership in life and in business that rocks. I'm just not that person. And I recognize that. And I'm not going to get, and honestly, when you start talking about women's issues and what women go through in a breakup, now men may go through the same thing, but I really don't think too many women want to sit down and talk to a man and have him go, yeah, I know how you feel, because you know what? They don't.
No.
They don't. And I don't know how a man feels, and I don't know what a man goes through. I have an idea, because the majority of my career I worked with all men. I was a carpenter by trade. And then, of course, I had military guys. I do better with men than I do women a lot of times.
90% of my friends are men.
But it's one of those things that, as a woman, I get. I get what it feels like to wake up one day and not have a clue who you are. Because the only thing you knew how to be was wife and mom, and the husband and the kid are gone. And suddenly you have to figure it out for yourself. I had very, very, very limited skills, zero self-esteem. I was nothing if I wasn't wife and mom. So that's going to be the first thing I say. But the biggest thing, the biggest choice you have to make, and it's not an easy one because we're told we're selfish. Oh, you put yourself first? That's selfish. No. Because you are no good to anybody else if you're not taking care of yourself first. Nobody. You cannot take care of your family. You cannot take care of your friends. You cannot take care of your loved ones if you don't make time for you, if you don't put you first. Because if you put everyone else first, there is nothing left for you. And at the end of the day, you are tired. You are worn out. You are sad, and you are very likely depressed. And I can tell you what, when I was depressed, I was useless. I had nothing to give to anybody, and I didn't want to. I just wanted to be left alone. So putting yourself first is not an act of selfishness. It is actually an act of selflessness. And so to begin with that, that's what you do. As far as repeating the patterns of the same kind of men, I'm going to talk about that really soon, but I'll tell you, for me, what I had to do was look at the common denominator in all of these relationships that went really bad because I chose the wrong men or whatever. The common denominator was me. And I had to ask, what was it about me that made it okay to choose men that were not good for me? There was something going on inside of me. And we're going to talk about that in the very, very, very near future. You have to look at you. You have to do your own self-worth. You have to value yourself. And I didn't. I really didn't. I was married once before Pam's dad. I was married once before. I was 17 years old. I met a man 20 years my senior who convinced me that nobody else would have me because, excuse my language, not language I'm going to use often in a scope, but I'm going to quote him, I was too fucked up for anyone else to want. Well, looking back, I was 17, he was 37. Which one of us was messed up?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, a 37-year-old man showed up at our door for you, he wouldn't have got very far.
No.
You know, so I went through that, and he was physically and emotionally and sexually abusive towards me. So when I met her dad's not a terrible man. He has issues. He has issues. And verbally, he can be very sharp-tongued, would we say? And I don't think he gets. I don't think...
He doesn't comprehend.
I genuinely don't think he intends to be what I would call abusive, and I'm sorry for using that term, but I think you understand what I'm talking about because we've discussed this.
Yes.
He is not doing it with intent to harm, but it's harmful.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, he and I got into many battles over the things he would say to you, and of course I had my own issues. So I really didn't think I was really all that smart or anything else. I raised my daughter differently. I told her from very early on, so no matter what her dad was saying, and he really wasn't that rough on you when you were younger. It was as you got older.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can look at the family history and we know where he learned that particular type of behavior as well. So, you know, he was treated that way and he was carrying it on. I chose to break the cycle of abuse in my life. And I had to start with my child. And I know when the time is right, she has her own children, she's going to do it better than I did it. You know, that's what we all aim for. And so, when I say breaking the cycle of repeating those patterns over and over again of choosing the same men, you have to start with yourself. And you have to ask the question, why?
All right, cool.
Why am I making it okay for somebody to treat me in such a manner? And when I started, this was my true north, I guess one would say, because I had to start at a place. I didn't feel like I had the right to say that behavior wasn't okay. So what I started doing was going, is this going to be okay for my daughter? Because watching her repeat my patterns, if it was okay for me, then it was going to be okay for her in her eyes. So I would begin with, is this okay for my daughter? Is this good enough for my daughter? And if the answer was anything but a resounding yes, then it wasn't good enough for me. I've now come to a point where I can choose that for me on my own and hope that Pam picks up those lessons as well as some of the bad ones I taught her. And I think she is. Like I said, I was in my 40s before I learned to go, I have to love me more than I love you with a man in my life. And she's 21. So let's hope that by her 50s, she will be way, 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 way wiser than I am, because I'm still figuring it out. I'm still tripping and I'm still falling. And it's late and we're both tired. But Pam, I want to thank you. You going to do this with me again?
Sure, I guess.
Okay, awesome. We're going to have some fun with this.
Maybe next time when I look a little better in this thing.
Okay, if I could look this bad at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, I'd be good. But we both want to thank you all for joining us and engaging.
Thank you.
The hearts rocked. You can find me at Twitter. My Twitter screen is different than it is here because I didn't realize you couldn't change the name on Twitter and not have it change on Periscope. So I am at
something.
I just forgot. At Goddess11, I believe. It's there on my profile. It'll give you my Twitter handle. Feel free to tweet us with some questions or thoughts or ideas or other things you'd love us to talk about, because we'd love to engage with you. And again, my name is Belle Marshall. This is my daughter, Pam. I am the creator and founder of Reclaiming the Goddess Within, and you can find my website, which is, as usual, under construction, at www.reclaimingthegoddesswithin.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Now go out there, take care of yourself, and be passionate about your life. Thank you so very much.
Have a nice night.
Yes, have a nice night. That's a good one.